Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Eric, the dude who grows food, and today I want to share with you what I think should, or at least could be, your first crop if you're thinking about getting into the vegetable growing game. And that crop is, my friends, right behind me, daikon radish. Bear with me for just a moment because I'm going to give you some pretty compelling reasons on why this should be your first vegetable to grow. So if you are about to become a first-time grower, one of the reasons may be because you simply want to eat healthier. Growing your own vegetables is a great way to get a bunch of added nutrition into your diet, and when you grow it yourself, you have a lot of access to varieties that you don't have in the store, and the freshness is incomparable. You can't get any better than walking out of the door of your house, hitting your garden, and bringing some food back in. And with the daikon radish, you're getting a double duty vegetable in the sense that you're getting edible greens and you're getting a root, and you are getting a cruciferous vegetable. Outside of maybe, legumes and berries, you're not going to find a food healthier than cruciferous. So for that reason alone, daikon is worth getting into. Now, I'm no radish expert, but I do happen to know that daikon can come in a couple of different forms, at least, if not probably more. One that you may have a bit more familiarity with is going to be this one, which is Minawasi, and it is a traditional daikon that has a really typically heavy, long white root. But the one I'm going to recommend to you in the daikon family is this one here. Now, the leaf form is a little bit different, but it grows in the same time frame as the Minawasi. However, this one's called the watermelon radish, or the Chinese meat radish. And let's get a closer look at what this one can look like. Now, that's a pretty good sized root, and we're going to go ahead and harvest that. Now, I harvested this for two reasons. One, I want to eat it. And two, I want to bring it inside, put it on the scale after cleaning it so I can show you exactly how much food you can get from one simple root vegetable that just came out of the ground after sitting there for about 60 days. And cutting a cross section of this watermelon radish, this is what you see. Isn't that beautiful? Now, another reason that I think this is a really compelling vegetable for you to start with as a beginning grower is because, well, it grows during a time frame when most people have kind of shut their gardens down. You're seed starting this in, I'm going to say, for my purposes, mid-late July for August, September maturity into an October harvest. You could probably even start it later than that and still get a good harvest if your season's long enough. And that's kind of awesome because you're going to be growing when the weather's actually breaking nice and cool, as opposed to starting something in the spring and then having to maintain a plant when it's way too hot to be outside, as other gardeners here in the South can attest to. And the third reason I think you should grow this crop is because it's relatively easy to grow. It's growing, well, like I said, when the season's getting cool, the pest pressure is a lot lower. Since the heat's gone down for the most part, the water evaporation from the soil has gone away. It's the sort of crop that you want to start with because it's a really great confidence builder. If you are one of those people who decides you want to garden and immediately you get the tomato bug, that's usually the kind of the gateway crop that people get in with, is our tomatoes. The problem with that is they can be sensitive to fungus, they can be sensitive to pests, they can be fickle just by their very nature. They like heat, but they don't like too much heat, so your efforts when you're growing tomatoes, the rewards are fantastic, but the problem with that is the downfall can actually be pretty severe. Versus a radish crop like this in the fall, a $3 packet of seeds, if you have a raised bed, or even if you want to go in ground into a garden bed that you have established, or even in a few pots, it's going to be, I think, for you, an easier crop to get a win with. And if you win with a crop right away when you're starting your gardening career, it can springboard you forward into wanting to do more. So it's been a couple of days since the last scene was shot, but ultimately I want to close this one down by saying I really hope that if you decide you want to get into the growing game, that you give this crop a chance. Radish might not be the most popular food out there for any of the vegetable eaters or anybody who's not eating much vegetable. They're probably not inspired necessarily by the idea of a radish. I would say give that a second, think about that twice. There's a lot you can do with this crop. You're going to get a good solid yield of leaves. You're going to get a really big root that you can do a lot of. It works well for roasting, for air frying, for steaming, for fermenting, for pickling. And I mean, you saw before, 2.5 pounds pretty much off of that one root. I mean, it's hard to beat that kind of a yield. Plus you're growing in really nice weather. And you're going to get a win straight out of the gate. Probably. No guarantees. But I will say, this particular crop that I showed you, that bed, they were really leggy. They were really unhappy when I put them in the ground. Not unlike my spring radishes that I showed in a video earlier this year. Both of them I just did not start out of the gate well with, and both of them just looked at me and said, "We got it from here, Eric. You just move along." So I got out of its way and it did its thing. So I hope this inspires you to consider this crop, and if it did, let me know below in the comments. I'd love to hear that. And yeah, feel free to like, get some chatter going. If there's anything else you want to see in the garden, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to share whatever I'm doing with you. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. Take care.